What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the M.A.D podcast. I am your host, Christopher, and I'm just going to be diving straight into today. Over the last few days, I started watching The Last Dance. And for those who don't know, The Last Dance is a 10-part documentary on the pretty much the last season that came with the Chicago Bulls basketball team. This is one of the most prominent and dominant teams of all time, pretty much. And as I was watching this, I was so excited for this. You guys have no idea. I just love basketball. I love Michael Jordan, and especially during this time when basketball isn't around at all, I needed basketball in my life. So, at first, this series was exclusive on another platform. I believe it was ESPN. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was ESPN. So I wasn't able to watch it during the whole 10 parts, and I was just seeing the responses from different networks, different platforms, and I was just so excited and waiting. And then a few days ago, I saw the news that that specific documentary, they released it on Netflix, and I have Netflix. Yes, I do. So as soon as I saw that, I said, heck yes. And I jumped on that so quick. I started watching that so fast. And right now I think I'm halfway through right now. I just couldn't stop watching it. And it was so difficult because, I have to record. I have a schedule to keep up with. And it was really tough because all I wanted to do was just binge watch that whole documentary. It's been so good, so interesting. And so much that it has fueled something in me, and that's it's what led to what I want to talk about today. And what led to what I want to talk about today is that in Michael Jordan, as everybody knows, one of the most popular names you can think of in Michael Jordan, someone who will be remembered forever. And whenever I think about successful people, whenever I think about names that have lasted for a while, who were known for something, I like to study them, and I like to see why and how they got there and what's their mindset. And this documentary did exactly that, to show their mindset. Someone like Michael Jordan, who came from a specific past, who grew up, in his specific case, he had different brothers and stuff like that, and he wasn't the oldest, so he constantly tried to get to get accepted by his father, and this ultimately drove him to wanting to be the best so that he can just get that acknowledgement from his father. And that competitive drive that he had when he was young, it fueled him to keep going towards his high school years and college years. And he just continued to have that competitive edge, to want to be the best, and known as the best, and be conversation as being known as the greatest ever. And it's that hunger that led him to get to those victories that he had, to get to being the one guy, a part of a team that was 6-0 in the finals of the NBA. And all of this just fueled something in me, because in myself, I ain't no Michael Jordan. I know that for sure. I see that same quality in a lot of successful people, and that's kind of what I wanted to mention today. What does it take to really have that same hunger to win, to really want to desire to win? What does it take to get to that stage, to get to that level? And the very first thing that I noticed is that there's something that's called the switch. And many of you have probably heard it before. Maybe you heard it in Drake's song, Flip the Switch, whatever the case may be. There's always that switch. And you'll hear a lot of people talk about it, because it's so hard to explain that the best way to put it into words is with just saying that, the switch. So for me, for example, I noticed that switch go off when as many of you know, a few years ago, when I was just going down a really deep hole and didn't know what my purpose was, what my identity was, and I decided to just turn around and completely just move forward. And I always try to think, I was like, what led to that really? And really what it was just a whole load of a combination of years of me just feeling sorry for myself, not knowing if I was worth it, not knowing if I was going to ever make it, and I never knowing if I had a purpose in life. And I was literally just tired of feeling that way. And I was tired of wasting time, wasting days, wasting hours, just feeling sorry for myself and just thinking that it would be okay to be comfortable and live life. And I just didn't want that anymore. And it became such a parasite in my life that I just decided that I really didn't want it at all to feel that way. And I decided to go all in. And that's when that switch flipped off. And that's when I started to read books on building my mental health, on building my mental awareness, on improving myself, so that I didn't have to feel so dependent on other people anymore. And I learned how to be independent, and I kept studying that. And as I started to learn about that, I wanted to learn how I could be a better leader, so that I could learn how to teach others how to be the same way, and how to stop wasting time and just learn to flip that switch. And the same thing for you when you're listening to this. That's what it's going to take. That's one of the things that's going to take to fuel that hunger to win. You're going to have to flip that switch. Eventually, you got to come to a moment to ask yourself, do you want to be in this position that you're in right now? The feeling that you're feeling right now for the rest of your life? Because a lot of us, we don't notice, and we like to sugarcoat, and we'll be like, yeah, when this happens, then I'll do it. Or as soon as I do this, then I'll do it. And we realize we continue to add circumstances and add more excuses on top of excuses. And we don't like to hear the hard truth. We like to be comfortable. We like things to go easy. We don't like to do things the hard way. I can say this from personal experience. We tend to try to find the easy way out, try to find a cool way out that's not too hard. And that's what makes us weak. That's what makes us soft. And if you want to really find that success, especially in a world where there's so much people wanting to chase success, you've got to stand out. And the only way you can stand out is by you getting out of your comfort zone and learning how to flip that switch and move forward. And don't waste another second just feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like that there's nothing else you can do about it. There's nothing else that's in your strength, in your control. You always have the strength. You have a talent. And if you're breathing right now, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you have a purpose to be able to move forward. All you have to do is flip that switch. And once you flip it, and just decide to not even turn back and go forward and keep moving ahead. And don't stop. Don't flip that switch off. The good thing about the interesting thing about the switch is that you always have the chance to turn it off, but you never do. That's something that a lot of people talked about Michael Jordan, is that the way he played was just so phenomenal that you can tell from a person like that if they wanted to, they could have an off night, or they could have a night that they could just relax and rest. They could have a night where they could just turn off that switch. But he didn't. He knew he had that option, but he didn't. He chose to always have that switch on. And for us, we've got to have that same drive. We want to see that switch there, knowing that we can turn it off. But we're not even looking at it. We're running straight towards keeping that switch on and going as far as we can go. So that's the first thing that's going to take. You got to flip that switch and start to move forward and keep moving forward to fuel that. Don't make any more excuses for yourself. Don't make any more reasons why you can't. Start telling yourself, instead of saying I can't do this, tell yourself, what can I do to do this? What can I do to make this happen? Ask yourself those questions. Stop saying I can't. Stop saying you don't have time, because it's really hard for you to find something you're not searching for. It's really hard for you to find time if you're not really looking for time. So in order for you to really find the time, you've got to search for it, and you've got to make it happen. And you got to flip that switch. That's what it's going to take. You got to start off with flipping that switch and just going all in and moving forward. So we talked about flipping that switch, and in order for us to keep moving forward, what's the next thing? What else is it going to take to have that hunger to win? And what goes immediately tied into with that switch is focus. And as I was mentioning, when I had to burp. When I noticed that switch go off in my life and I was just focused and just kept moving forward, that switch, it led to a focus. My eyes were just on the prize. I just started moving. I just started moving forward, and things started working out when I started zoning in. So in our lives, we start to notice, and I take it back again to Michael Jordan. He had this drive and he just zoned in, and that's what made him stand out. A lot of people would pick on him, this and that. He would lose a game, or someone would try to talk trash, and he would be like, "All right, I'll see you tomorrow," and then he would just completely destroy. It was so fascinating to see. It's incredible, really, to see something like that. And I can say for myself in my life as well, like I flipped that switch and I just was so zoned in and focused. Like the fact that I was so focused, I didn't, really see anything else, like any obstacles. All I saw were challenges and opportunities. I didn't see any barriers that was like, oh man, I can't do this. All I saw were my eyes were on the prize. My eyes were on the end goal, on what I wanted. What I wanted was to be independent. What I wanted was to know I had a purpose. What I wanted was to feel complete, was to feel significant. And I was continuing to move forward. And that's where my eyes and my mind were focused on. And the fact that I was focused is what led to that. Because as I was focused, everything around me, all the distractions, all the obstacles that were presented, I didn't even pay a single mind to them. My goal was just to win. My goal is just to get as far as I can possibly go, to grow as much as I can possibly grow. So for you, once you flip that switch, the next thing you got to do is you got to focus. You got to sit down and you got to want it bad. You got to like ask yourself, you got to really focus in on it. What is your end goal? Ask yourself right then and there. When that flip goes off, when that switch goes off, you got to ask yourself, what is the end goal here? What are you trying to achieve? What is the purpose of doing what you're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? You have to ask yourself that. This is what's going to ultimately lead to the next step. So you've got to really focus in, and it's tough. I know it's tough. Um, and I think what it really takes is for you to just, like I said, you've got to just zone in, and you've got to go all in and understand that nobody else is gonna do this for you. I've said this before, and I want you to really, like, as I'm saying this, uh, uh, let it sink in. No one else is gonna do this for you. No one else. So you've got to choose to do this for you. This is your story. This is your success story. This is your journey here. Think think years and years ahead. This is the one life you have to live. You know, don't think of it in the way that it's like, oh, I don't want to overwork myself every day. I don't want to, spend every second of my life working in too hard. Like, no, if you're thinking from the standpoint of you doing a job or having a job that or being somewhere doing something you don't want to do, then yeah, you overwork yourself. When it's your passion, when it's something you love to do, when it's something that it's something that you just simply love, then it's not a job, it's not work. It's just you wanting to grow in your passion, in what you already love to do. So your goal is to simply keep moving towards that, is to just continue growing in that, and just ask yourself, what can you do to be better in that every single day? The ultimate goal is for us to be our best self every day, for us to never sell ourselves short in every circumstance, in everything we do, and especially when it comes to our passion. Like, it's funny because we don't put a time on when we're scrolling through social media, or when we're wasting time watching nonsense and posts that don't matter, or reading news that won't benefit us, or doing things that really waste time. And we tend to not put a time on that. And then when it comes to the things that actually benefit us, when it comes to our passion, when it comes to something that will actually push us forward and make us go higher, we tend to put a time frame on that. But all right, this needs to be like this. It's kind of crazy how we're so organized when it comes to how little time we put into the things that will benefit us, and how much more time we give to the things that won't do anything for us. And that's what needs to switch. That's what needs to flip. You need to decide to focus in on what you need to do, on what you want to accomplish, on just what you love to do. Like, don't think of, like, really the last thing you want to, if you're thinking already about it as like a job, then it's not for you. You need to think about it as just, this is just something you love to do, and you just want to invest more time into it. When it came to my podcast, when it came to doing this, I saw all the work that was involved and everything that needed to get done. And I didn't think for a second how much work this was going to be. I didn't think really, like how what it was gonna take, how much sacrifice it was gonna take, how much time it was going to take. I didn't care. I love to do this. This is my passion, and I want to be able to have the platform to be able to help not only myself grow, to push myself to take out time to study and help myself grow. By doing this, I get to also help you grow as you listen, and that's ultimately what's the purpose for me. And the fact that I'm able to, for just one person that listens, if I'm able to do this for just one person that listens, then I know that I'm doing something that matters, and I know that I'm impacting others by impacting myself, and learning how to just go make a difference in my life and in the lives of everyone else that listens and that watches this. And that just fueled me. And I didn't see this as a job. It was just like, I don't care if I have to give up, playing, if I have to give up, not doing something, not doing a certain thing. I do it literally with joy, because I don't care, because this is my passion. This is what I love to do. And that's what you have to ask yourself. You have to really look at what you're doing, or look at the passion that you have, and really ask yourself, like, is this something that you love to do? Is this something that, like, you would do this every day if you could? And if you have a job, that you would leave your job and you would do this all day. Like, ask yourself, what is something that you can find that falls in that category? And don't think about money. Don't think about maintaining. Don't think about finances. Don't worry about that. If you have a job right now, don't worry about that. No one is telling you, and I'm not telling you, so don't misinterpret. I'm not telling you to leave your job and quit. I'm telling you to just find what you love to do right now. Whether you have a job or you don't, or you're homeless and living on the streets, or you're living with your parents, or you're completely struggling, doesn't matter what walk of life you are in. What matters is right now, as you're listening to this, if you have a passion and something you love to do, just go all into it. Trust me. Just listen to me right now and just go all in. Like, just dive into it. Like, don't look back. Focus in on it and just delight yourself and have fun with growing in that passion. No matter where it goes, even if it ends up just being something you do on the side for fun for the rest of your life, at least that's something on the side that you invest every day in, something you love to do. And every day you're doing something significant for yourself, to grow yourself. So in the end, it just benefits you. So just focus in on that. Learn to focus in and just go all into your passion, no matter what's going to happen. It's just something you love to do, and you're not trying to become rich or become a millionaire or be a billionaire or be famous. All you're trying to do is just do what you love. And in thinking about that love, that's going to be the last thing that it takes to have that hunger to win. Is just ultimate love. Might sound corny, might sound cheesy, you might not like it, you might not like how it makes you feel. I don't care. When it comes to love, there's many things that comes with it, and it's what I was talking about earlier. It's the passion, the desire, and the authentic love to just do what you have fun doing. Doesn't matter what it is. I think the problem that we have with where we live in right now and what we're surrounded by is that we think so fast, that when we're doing something that we think, how can I monetize this? How can I profit off of this? Which is a realistic view, and I can say this for myself personally. Obviously, it comes up in my mind and I think about it. And my goal obviously is to grow, and for this to be something that I do all the time, so that I can invest more time and grow in this area. So yes, it comes up in my mind, and it's realistic, and it's okay to think that way. The problem is when you let that consume you, and that's your ultimate goal, to just make money and find a way to make money off of what you're doing. Don't worry about that. If you love to do what you're doing right now, start off by simply taking out 30 minutes, taking out an hour every day to just sit down and invest time in that. I started to notice something that I started doing when it came to like organizing myself and like really zoning in. I last week, I think it's been over the last 2 weeks or more that I like calculated. For those who haven't heard the Pareto principle, I don't know if you've heard. If you haven't, I would look it up so that you can learn more in depth about it. It's basically the 80/20 rule, that you know You'll get 80% of results from the top 20%. That's what it's the 80-20 rule, right? So if you have, a team of 10 people, then the top 20% of those 10 people, which is like 2 to 3, I can't do math right now, those will give you the most results of that team. And it works with almost everything. I'm not saying it works with everything. So I use this principle with my timing, with my week. So I started to say, okay, let's say I were to work 6 days a week in my passion. Or actually, the way I started off is I saw, like, so there's 6 days, or there's 7 days in a week. I gave myself one day fully to rest and not do anything at all, and just let myself be completely lazy. I don't care. I'm willing to do that. So I do that. So um so I saw how many hours are there in a week. Okay, so then I took 20% of that, right? I took 20% of that in 6 days, right? And that amount of hours, I divided it obviously each day. So however many hours it is per day. And it came out to like 4.6. I just rounded it up to 5 hours, right? So then essentially what it meant to me was, out of the 6 days that I'm willing to put in work in my passion, or out of the 6 days that I'm working and doing stuff, really about 4 to 5 hours every day is going to determine the success of that week. Meaning for me, what that meant for me was the I had 4 to 5 hours every day to invest in my passion. If I had the focus and the mindset of, okay, I have 4 to 5 hours today to go all into my passion, and my goal was to just find 4 to 5 hours, which is tough, especially if you work, if for me, that I go to church and I do other stuff, and you obviously need time to sleep. So when you're calculating all of this, you're left with very little time. So it was a really fun challenge to think about, and that I had to practice. And basically from this, that I just had to ask myself, where is there 4 to 5 hours that I can invest every day? Because if I'm able to do that for at least 6 days, 4 to 5 hours every day for at least 6 days a week, that will bring out the most success of that week. That would be the term. That would be deemed as a successful week to me. So I realized, okay, so I started to get creative, and I really, like, guys, when I started doing this, it was the most, like, evident. Like, I noticed it the most on Saturday, that I was off all day from work and there wasn't anything really to do all day. So I decided to take advantage. It's like, okay, 5 hours. I'm separating 5 hours today, go on into my passion. And I had a whole, like, step by step things that I needed to do to get done. And it wasn't hard at all. Like, literally, this could be anything. This could be you just watching videos on learning how to do something, or learn how to get better in your passion. Like, that's what I was doing. I was just watching YouTube. I was, for about, like, maybe 20-30 minutes, I was just watching different videos on how to do different processes better, how to improve in specific areas, learning better how to for example, marketing, stuff like that. And I separated 5 hours. Says, I don't care what I'm doing, I don't care what I'm, like, whatever I have to get done in 5 hours, I need to go all into my passion. Even if I finish early, even if I do so well that I finish, like, everything that I needed to do, if I still had time left, I kept going. So I was like, okay, I'm ahead with everything. I was like, okay, I need to watch another video now. And I just started taking notes. I started working on other things as well, until I made those 5 hours. And I can tell you guys, after I did that, I noticed I really, like, became so aware. I was like, whoa, if people did this, all week, try to do this between 4 to 5 hours, it will make a tremendous difference. So I just wanted to use that example to tell you guys that what led me to do that was just the passion that I had, the desire that I had to want to be better. I just love what I do. So in the end, you've got to love what you do. It's got to be something that you really are passionate about, and you desire, and you just want to grow and be the best that you can possibly be. So just continue to seek something that you love to do. Like, and ask yourself, how bad do you really want it? Think about it, that it's not just for you, it's for those that come after you, whether you have kids or you plan on having kids. It's for those that come after you, for the generation that comes after you, so that when you leave this world, when you depart from this world, you have something to leave behind. And that's what's the most important thing, that you can leave something behind. And in order to do that, you've got to go on a big scale, and you've got to find others. You got to find a team. You've got to grow, and you got to move forward. And in the end, what's so important is that you have the hunger to win. And you've got to just want it so bad that you have no other options. It's either you make it or you make it. There's no other options. Just like the famous NF said in his song. So if I want this to sit in your heart, if this has impacted you in any kind of way, please, guys, like, honestly, do something for yourself and share this with others. Like, share this and pass this on if you feel like this can be something impacting. Share a snippet, share a screenshot, share an audio clip, whatever it is. Just share it, and don't hesitate to do something for yourself to grow and be better. This is the first step you can take, and support in any way that you can. And you guys can follow me on all social media platforms. You can follow me at Twitter. You can find me at Crisito is Mad. On Instagram, you can find me at Chris Go Mad, or follow our podcast page, Go Mad Official. I'm also on Facebook and YouTube. You can find me on all platforms. And if you guys have any questions at all, anything at all, don't feel free to reach out to me and to DM me. So as we invest in ourselves and we have that hunger to win, and we look for others to build our team and to move forward, we can all go mad. I'll catch you guys in the next one.